Number 9. Amphicar, 1961-1968. Kicking off our list is one of the most unusual vehicles ever sold to the public, a car that was also a boat, or at least it tried to be both. The Amphicar was produced in West Germany and introduced to the American market in 1961. It was powered by a 1.1-liter Triumph Herald engine producing just 43 horsepower, which was modest even for the standards of the time. On water, it was propelled by two small rear propellers and could reach approximately 7 miles per hour, barely faster than a person swimming. On land, its top speed was around 70 miles per hour, which was also unimpressive. The real problem wasn't the concept, it was the execution. Owners frequently reported water leaks, severe corrosion, and a steering system that made maneuvering on water genuinely unpredictable. The vehicle also required constant maintenance to keep its seals from deteriorating. Roughly 3,700 units were built over its entire production run, and today only a fraction of those survived. It wasn't a good car, it wasn't a good boat, but it was uniquely and memorably flawed. Number 8. Hillman Imp, 1963-1976. Coming in at number 8 is the Hillman Imp, a British compact that was rushed to market before its engineers were truly ready. Produced by Roots Group and launched in 1963, the Imp was designed as a competitor to the Mini. It used a rear-mounted 875cc aluminum alloy engine derived from a Coventry Climax racing unit, producing around 39 horsepower. The concept was genuinely clever, but the manufacturing facility in Linwood, Scotland had serious quality control issues, and most of the early workforce had no prior automotive experience. The result was a vehicle plagued by overheating engines, faulty cylinder heads, and coolant system failures. The rear-mounted engine also made the car prone to oversteer, a handling characteristic that caught inexperienced drivers off guard. Roots Group spent enormous sums on warranty repairs and recalls during the early years of production, and the financial strain contributed to the company's eventual acquisition by Chrysler in 1967. Number 7. Triumph Vitesse, 1962-1971. At number 7, we have a British sports car with a fundamental flaw buried directly in its suspension design, the Triumph Vitesse. Introduced in 1962 as a sportier evolution of the Triumph Herald, the Vitesse came with a 1.6-liter inline-six engine in its original form, later upgraded to 2.0 liters in 1966, producing up to 104 horsepower in twin carburetor specification. The engine was smooth, the styling was attractive, and on paper it seemed like a competitive small sports car. However, the Vitesse inherited the same swing-axle independent rear suspension used on the Herald, and in a car with significantly more power and a higher center of gravity, that suspension became a genuine safety concern. Under hard cornering, the rear wheels could tuck dramatically inward, causing sudden and unpredictable oversteer. The issue was well documented by automotive journalists at the time, and Triumph eventually addressed it with a revised rear suspension setup in 1968. But for 6 years, the car was sold with a known handling deficiency. It remains one of the clearest examples of a chassis design that simply didn't scale with increased performance. Number 6. Simca 1000, 1961-1978. Number 6 is a French compact that looked modern on the outside but concealed some frustrating engineering compromises underneath. The Simca 1000 was introduced at the Paris Motor Show in 1961 and produced until 1978. It used a rear-mounted engine, initially 944cc, eventually growing to 1,118cc, positioned behind the rear axle, a layout that saved interior space but complicated weight distribution. Entry-level versions produced around 35 horsepower, while higher-spec variants reached up to 50 horsepower. The core engineering issue with the Simca 1000 was thermal management. The rear-mounted engine had limited airflow around it, leading to chronic overheating in traffic in warm climates. The cooling system was consistently rated as inadequate for the engine's demands. Additionally, the rear weight bias gave the car sharp, snap-oversteer behavior that required experienced handling, particularly in wet conditions. Rust was also a persistent problem across the car's production life, with body panels deteriorating rapidly in humid or coastal environments. Number 5. Renault Dauphine. At number 5, we have a car that was actually one of the best-selling vehicles in the world during the late 1950s, and yet it earned a lasting reputation as one of the least reliable cars of its era. The Renault Dauphine entered production in 1956 and remained on sale through 1967. It was powered by a rear-mounted 845cc four-cylinder engine, producing just 27 horsepower in standard form. The car was exported aggressively to the United States, where Renault saw strong early demand, but that enthusiasm faded quickly once American owners discovered how fragile and troublesome the car could be. Consumer Reports famously described the Dauphine as one of the worst cars available on the American market during the early 1960s. Documented problems included persistent carburetor and fuel system faults, severe rust in both the body panels and structural components, and an electrical system that failed regularly in cold weather. The swing-axle rear suspension also produced handling characteristics that were unpredictable at highway speeds. Number 4. Oldsmobile Jetfire, 1962-1963. Number 4 is a car that was genuinely ahead of its time, but that ambition came with serious consequences for its owners. The Oldsmobile Jetfire was introduced for the 1962 model year and produced only through 1963. It was the first American production car ever equipped with a turbocharged engine, a 215 cubic inch, 3.5-liter aluminum V8 fitted with a Garrett turbocharger. The system produced 215 horsepower, which was remarkable for a compact car of that period. To manage detonation, Oldsmobile engineered a unique fluid injection system using a mixture of water and methanol, referred to as turbo rocket fluid, that was stored in a reservoir under the hood. That fluid system became the vehicle's most persistent problem. Owners frequently neglected to refill the reservoir, and when it ran dry, the engine would knock severely and suffer internal damage. Number 3. NSU Ro 80, 1967-1977. Coming in at number 3 is a vehicle that won Car of the Year in Europe and yet left thousands of owners stranded within months of purchase. That car is the NSU Ro 80. Launched in 1967 by German manufacturer NSU, the Ro 80 was powered by a twin-rotor Wankel rotary engine displacing 995 cc and producing approximately 115 horsepower. The car itself was technically impressive in many areas. Aerodynamic body styling with a drag coefficient of just 0.355, a semi-automatic transmission, and front-wheel drive. It looked like a car from a decade in the future. But the Wankel engine was catastrophically unreliable. The apex seals, small components that maintain compression within the rotor housings, failed at an extraordinary rate under real-world driving conditions. Many engines required complete replacement before reaching 30,000 miles. NSU eventually replaced engines for affected customers at a significant financial loss, but the damage to the company's reputation was irreversible. At number 2 is perhaps the most famous automotive failure in American history, a car that became a symbol of everything that can go wrong when product development loses touch with quality control. Ford introduced the Edsel for the 1958 model year, positioning it as a mid-priced line to fill the gap between the Ford and Mercury brands. The lineup offered multiple body styles and several engine options, including a 410 cubic inch V8 producing 345 horsepower in the top-spec Citation model. Ford invested approximately $250 million in the Edsel's development, a staggering sum for the late 1950s. The problems began immediately. Early production vehicles were shipped to dealers with documented defects, including push-button transmission selectors that jammed or failed entirely, hood latches that didn't secure properly, oil leaks, trunk lids that wouldn't close, and paint finish inconsistencies. The Edsel was assembled at multiple existing Ford plants simultaneously, and quality control varied significantly between facilities. And at number 1, the car that didn't just fail commercially, but directly changed the laws governing automotive safety in the United States. This is the Chevrolet Corvair. Introduced for the 1960 model year, the Corvair was an ambitious and genuinely unconventional American compact. It used an air-cooled, rear-mounted flat-six engine, available in sizes ranging from 2.3 to 2.7 liters, and in the early models, a fully independent swing-axle rear suspension. The base engine produced 80 horsepower, while the turbocharged Spider variant, introduced in 1962, delivered 150 horsepower, making it the first American turbocharged production car offered to the public. The problem was the suspension. The early swing-axle rear setup, combined with the rear heavy weight distribution and the factory-recommended tire pressures, which called for significantly lower pressure in the front tires than the rear, created handling behavior that could become dangerous in limit conditions. Under certain cornering situations, the rear of the car could tuck and oversteer severely,